Gloria Johnson is an American politician and a Democratic member of the Tennessee House of Representatives representing District 13. Previously holding the seat from January 8, 2013 to January 7, 2015, Johnson won a rematch with Eddie Smith on November 6, 2018. She was sworn in on January 8, 2019. Origins. Background: anti-Biden chants. In early September 2021, chants of "Fuck Joe Biden" were reported to have broken out in a number of college football games in the southern United States. Later that month, the phenomenon spread to other universities, including Wyoming. Similar anti-Biden chants took place during the September 2021 Ryder Cup. The Washington Examiner reported that "Fuck Joe Biden" was chanted by some attendees at a Megadeth concert in September 2021, and at an October 2021 protest in response to a vaccine mandate for educators in New York City. Initial use of the phrase in an interview with Brandon Brown. On October 2, 2021, racing driver Brandon Brown was being interviewed by NBC Sports reporter Kelly Stovest at the Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, following his victory in the NASCAR Xfinity Series Sparks 300 race, which was shortened due to darkness. Fans were chanting "Fuck Joe Biden," and this became clearly audible to viewers of the broadcast. On the live broadcast, while wearing a headset, reporter Stovest stated, "You can hear the chants from the crowd, 'Let's go, Brandon.'" It is unclear whether Stovest misunderstood the chant or whether she intentionally misquoted it. A reporter with the Associated Press made a claim that the chant was at first difficult to make out. If intentional, it may have been a verbal legerdemain. Early spread and reactions. Footage of the interview went viral, leading to the adoption of the phrase by critics of President Biden as an expression of antipathy toward him. It has also been reported as a protest against perceived liberal bias in mainstream media, based on speculation that the reporter's description of the crowd's chant was intended to conceal anti-Biden sentiment. Conservative commentators Ben Shapiro and Tommy Lahren spread the phrase via Twitter. The slogan has been printed on clothing, a billboard, and a banner flown behind a plane over a pro-Donald Trump rally in Iowa. According to The Independent, on October 19, the anti-Biden war cry "Let's go Brandon" is no longer a conservative media phenomenon. It's infiltrating mainstream popular culture and is now number 1 and 2 on iTunes, knocking Adele's new single into third place. As the phrase began to increase in use, Brandon Brown found the phrase amusing and tweeted, "To all the other Brandons out there, you're welcome. Let's go us." In private, he was ambivalent about the phrase because it overshadowed his Talladega win and threatened to scare off corporate sponsors leery of controversy. He planned to ignore the phrase, but later worried that his silence was perceived as a tacit endorsement of the sentiment. In October 2021, Brown's Brandon-built motorsports team was struggling to acquire sponsorship, as companies were hesitant to support him due to his indirect association with the chant and its political undertones. In December 2021, Brown, who is a Republican, said he had remained quiet during its proliferation because he had zero desire to be involved in politics, before expressing his wish for it to be used in a positive context instead. Brown took a more mixed stance in an op-ed for Newsweek, in which he said he was not going to endorse anyone or be silent about issues important to him. On November 5, 2021, NASCAR President Steve Phelps denounced any implied association with the slogan, saying that the organization does not want to be associated with politics on either the left or the right. Usage. Analysis. Linguist John McWhorter analyzed the linguistic attributes of the chant in The Atlantic, likening the use of Brandon to a substitution of a forbidden word. He wrote that the anti-Biden euphemism has a similar tone to the word snafu, which stands for situation normal all fucked up, or to the word conservatives, which is used by some nationalists or paleoconservatives to describe neoconservatives perceived as being in fact liberals. McWhorter described the Let's Go Brandon phenomenon as simply fascinating, and a wild, woolly kink in the intersection of language, politics, wit, and creativity. On November 20, 2021, the editorial board of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said that the chant reveals a moral bankruptcy of those who chant it even in church. In a November 23, 2021, opinion piece for the Washington Post, Mark Thiessen, a former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush, commented that the chant was tame compared to what has been said about other presidents. Initially, Thiessen was not a fan of the chant, but concluded his comments with, "It is a perfectly harmless and humorous way for Americans to express their frustration at a flailing and failing presidency." Politics. Republican politicians have used the phrase publicly. On October 21, Republican Congressman Bill Posey concluded remarks on the House floor with, "Let's go, Brandon." Texas Governor Greg Abbott used the phrase in an October 22 tweet. He attributed the popularity of the phrase to frustration with Biden's disastrous policies, including his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and the southern border. The following week, Republican Representative Jeff Duncan wore a face mask with the phrase imprinted on it on the House floor. Senator Ted Cruz posed with a "Let's Go Brandon" sign that was hung in Houston at the 2021 World Series. Later in 2021, a rapidly increasing number of national Republican politicians explicitly supported or made reference to the phrase. On November 12, 2021, when asked about Biden's views regarding the phrase, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki responded, "I don't think he spends much time focused on it or thinking about it." While President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden were taking phone calls for NORAD's Santa Tracker hotline on December 24, 2021, a caller ended his chat by saying, "Merry Christmas and let's go Brandon," to which President Biden smiled and responded, "Let's go Brandon, I agree." At the 2022 White House Correspondents' Dinner, Biden acknowledged the phrase by joking, "Republicans seem to support one fella, some guy named Brandon. He's having a good year, I'm kind of happy for him." In April 2022, Colorado State Representative Dave Williams ran for the House of Representatives and attempted to be listed on the ballot under the name Dave Let's Go Brandon Williams. Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold denied Williams' request under the reasoning that "Let's Go Brandon" is a slogan and not a nickname. Williams sued, with former Colorado Secretary of State Scott Gessler acting as his attorney. Although Denver District Judge Andrew McCallum agreed with Williams that he had successfully proved that he used "Let's Go Brandon" as his nickname, the judge ultimately ruled that Secretary of State Griswold acted within her authority in denying Williams the use of the nickname on the ballot. Williams attempted to appeal the verdict to the Colorado Supreme Court, but the court refused to hear his appeal. Music. Soon after the chant went viral, an anti-Biden rap song called "Let's Go Brandon" was recorded by Loza Alexander. The song first went viral on TikTok before rising to number 1 on the iTunes Store Top Hip-Hop/Rap Songs list, and number 2 on the platform's Top Songs list, on October 18, 2021. Alexander's song reached number 38 on the Billboard Hot 100 for the week of November 6, 2021. Another song with the same title was released by Bryson Gray, a conservative Christian rapper, reaching number 1 on iTunes. It debuted at number 28 on the US Hot 100. The music video for Gray's song, which included the line "Biden said the jab stopped the spread, it was lies," was taken down by YouTube for containing medical misinformation. A country rap song of the same name was recorded by 4G8 Blow. On October 27, iTunes had different "Let's Go Brandon" recordings at numbers 1, 2, 4, and 8. On January 25, 2022, Kid Rock released a single, "We the People," in which he attacks the media, Dr. Anthony Fauci, masks, COVID-19 restrictions, and big tech, and which features the chant "Let's Go Brandon" in the chorus. Brandon Brown sponsorship. In early November, the crypto coin LGBTcoin began trading, and on December 30, 2021, LGBTcoin announced that it would be sponsoring Brandon Brown's Brandon-Built Motorsports for the 2022 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. Brandon-Built's spokesman told Fox Business that approval was received on December 26, but on January 5, 2022, Bob Pockrass announced that NASCAR had not approved the sponsorship. In response, investor James Kautulas threatened a lawsuit against NASCAR, and called for a boycott until the decision was reversed. In February 2022, the U.S. 11th Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in a lawsuit against BitConnect that the Securities Act of 1933 extends to targeted solicitation using social media. In April 2022, a class action lawsuit was filed in Florida against the LGBTcoin cryptocurrency company, Brandon Brown, NASCAR, and political commentator Candace Owens, alleging that the defendants made false or misleading statements about the LGBTcoin and that the founders of the company had engaged in a pump and dump scheme. After the president fell off his bike in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware in June 2022, a Google Maps user listed the spot as a historical landmark on Google Maps, named Brandon Falls. However, Brandon Falls is not an official landmark named by the state of Delaware. Google reverted the landmark shortly thereafter. In 2022, a then 9-year-old autistic boy named Brandon Brundage saw a sign with the phrase "and," not knowing the political meaning, assumed that they were supporting him. It inspired him to try swimming and biking without training wheels. His mother wrote a book called Brandon Spots His Sign, and they later met Brandon Brown.